You ever have one of those nights that just feels off from the start? Like nothing too dramatic at first, but something in your gut's whispering, "This isn't right"? That was me. It was the fall of 2019, just before Halloween, and I had just finished a long shift at the pharmacy I worked at in a small town called Maple Glen. I usually wrapped up by 6, but that night I stayed late to cover for someone. Didn't get home till after 8. I was wiped. All I wanted to do was crash on my couch and maybe binge some mindless TV. But my stomach had other plans. It was growling like a wild animal. There was no way I was cooking. Not a chance. So I grabbed my phone, scrolled through some food delivery apps, and found this new sandwich place called Midnight Bites. Cute name. Good reviews. They had this grilled chicken melt that looked amazing. I placed my order, sandwich, fries, and a soda. Said it would be 30 minutes perfect. I pulled on some sweats, curled up under a blanket, and half-dozed to the sound of reruns playing in the background. But 30 minutes passed. Then 40, then nearly an hour. And no food. At this point, I was getting hangry. I checked the app again. It said the driver had picked up the order 35 minutes ago. That made no sense. The sandwich shop was 10 minutes from my place. Max. Right as I was about to message support, there was a knock at the door. Finally, I got up, a little annoyed, but when I opened the door, all that irritation kind of froze. There was a guy standing there, tall, maybe late 20s, wearing a red hoodie with the hood halfway up, shadowing most of his face. He held the bag out and said, "Delivery for Lila?" "That's me." "Yeah," I said, reaching for it. "Thanks," he didn't respond. Just kept holding the bag until I took it. No smile, no have a good night, just stared. His eyes were weird, kind of glassy. I gave a quick awkward smile and shut the door. Now here's where it gets weird. I opened the bag and something smelled off, not like spoiled food, just wrong. The sandwich looked okay, but when I took a bite I almost gagged. The meat tasted metallic. The fries were cold and limp, like they'd been sitting out for hours. I threw it all in the trash. Not even worth a second bite. I flopped back on the couch, suddenly feeling exhausted. My limbs were heavy and my eyes were already closing. I remember thinking, maybe the stress just hit me all at once. I decided to just go to bed. As I walked toward my bedroom, brushing my teeth and dragging my feet, I noticed a faint light flash through the window blinds. It was quick, like headlights. Then darkness again. I paused. My room faces the side of the house, not the street. Nobody should be pulling in over there. But I told myself it was probably one of the neighbors backing into their driveway or something. Still, something itched at the back of my mind. That weird feeling again. So I tiptoed to the front door and peeked through the peephole. There it was, a beat-up gray sedan sitting in my driveway. Engine off, lights off. Just parked there, silent. I squinted. It was the same car the delivery guy had pulled up in. I was sure of it. That's when my stomach dropped. I reached for the lock and realized it wasn't locked. Now listen, I'm the kind of person who double-checks the door even if I just locked it 2 minutes ago. I always lock the door, but that night, I must have been so thrown off by the weird interaction and bad food that I completely forgot. I quickly turned the deadbolt and stepped back. My heart was hammering. I stood there staring through the peephole, trying to see if anyone was in the car. But the windows were too dark, and then, creak. The sound came from behind me, from inside the house. I spun around so fast I nearly slipped, and there he was, the delivery guy, standing at the far end of the hallway, halfway in the shadows just outside the kitchen. He wasn't moving, wasn't saying anything, just standing there staring at me with this blank, unreadable expression. But what made it so bone-chilling was that he looked surprised, like I was the one who wasn't supposed to be there. For a second, neither of us moved. It was like time froze. Then without a word, he turned and sprinted toward the back of the house. The door slammed open. I heard feet pounding outside, then a car engine roaring to life. By the time I got to the back door, he was peeling out of the driveway. Gone. I called the police immediately, but I couldn't give them much. I hadn't seen the license plate. The name on the delivery app turned out to be fake. His account had just a few completed deliveries before it was wiped clean, They never found him. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Every creak in the house made me jump. Every shadow felt like it was watching me. The next morning I took the trash out, still shaken. That's when I saw something that made my skin crawl. In the bottom of the paper bag from the sandwich place, under the napkins, was a little plastic baggie. It was torn open, but the inside had this fine white powder dusted along the edges. I showed it to the cops. They ran a test and confirmed it was some kind of sedative, strong enough to knock someone out within minutes if they ate enough. That's when everything clicked. The weird taste. The sudden exhaustion. The guy waiting in the driveway. He must have thought I'd eat the whole thing, pass out, and then, I don't know. I try not to think about what would have happened if I had finished that meal, if I had gone to bed just 5 minutes earlier. Sometimes I wonder how many other people he tried this with. Maybe I was just the one who messed up his plan by not being hungry enough. I still live in Maple Glen, but I don't use food delivery apps anymore. Not after that, and every night before bed I check the locks twice. So this happened back in the fall of 2016, when I was 17 and working part-time delivering food around the small town of Twin Pines, Oregon. It was one of those towns where nothing big ever really happens and everyone kind of knows everyone, or at least knows someone who knows everyone. Quiet place, safe mostly, or at least I used to think so. That night it was pouring. And I don't mean just regular rain. I'm talking sheets of water slamming against the windshield. Wipers going full speed and still barely keeping up. The sky looked like someone spilled black ink all over it. I'd just finished my second-to-last delivery for the night and was looking forward to going home, maybe grabbing a hot shower and knocking out. My shift was almost over when a new delivery came in through the app. I almost ignored it. It was getting late and the roads were slick. But the payout was decent. $20 for a drop-off just 10 minutes out. That's like gold for a high schooler saving up for a used car. So against my better judgment, I hit accept. I picked up the food from this 24-hour taco spot, then punched in the address. I didn't recognize it at all, which was weird because, like I said, Twin Pines is a small town. But hey, maybe it was one of those houses tucked way off the main road. You know the kind, hidden behind trees or past long gravel driveways. As I drove, things started to feel off. The neighborhood I was heading into, Maple Hollow, wasn't far, but I realized I'd never actually been down that way before. The streetlights got fewer, the houses farther apart, and all I could hear was the pounding rain and the faint squeak of my windshield wipers. No cars were out. Not one, not even parked on the streets. Then I pulled up to the house and instantly something in my gut twisted. The place looked abandoned. The paint was peeling like dead skin. One of the upstairs windows was boarded up with rotting plywood. The front yard was a mess. Grass up to my knees, weeds everywhere, and a broken bird bath half sunk into the mud. The porch light flickered like it was about to give up. But what really got me? Every other house on the street looked normal. Lit windows. Clean yards. This one, total horror movie material. Still, I double-checked the address. Then checked it again. It matched. I sat there for a second, the rain thudding on the roof of my car, and considered just leaving the food on the porch and bailing. But the app needed a photo for proof of delivery, and if the customer complained, I'd be the one in trouble. So I took a deep breath, grabbed the bag, and headed to the porch. The wood creaked under my feet. It wasn't just old, it felt like it might give out under me. I set the bag down by the door, snapped a quick picture, and raised my hand to knock. Before my knuckles could touch the wood, the door creaked open, slowly, like it had been waiting for me. A woman stood there, mid-30s maybe? Hard to tell. Her hair was tangled, greasy, hanging in strings down her face. Her eyes were sunken, ringed in dark circles. And her skin looked pale, like she hadn't seen sunlight in years. She didn't say a word. Just stared at me. Your order's here, I said, trying to sound casual even though I could feel my heartbeat in my ears. She looked down at the food, then back at me, still silent, and then, I don't know why, I looked past her into the house. Big mistake, it was a wreck. Not just messy, trashed. The floors were stained, like something had been spilled and never cleaned up. The walls had deep scratches in them, and I swear I saw what looked like old handprints on one of the doors. Red-brown, Faded, but still there. There was no furniture. Just piles of torn blankets, garbage bags, and something that looked like a broken crib shoved against the far wall. I took a step back. "All right, have a good night," I said, turning fast, but then I heard it. A voice. A man's voice. From the side of the house, leaving so soon. I whipped my head around. A tall guy stood by the side of the house, halfway hidden by the rain and shadows. He wasn't wearing a coat, just a flannel shirt soaked through. His hair was slicked back with rainwater, but his eyes, they weren't right, wide open. Like he hadn't blinked in hours, he just stood there watching me. Not moving, not blinking. Like he was waiting to see what I'd do next. I didn't say anything. I just turned and walked, fast, back to my car. I got in, locked the doors, and took a shaky breath. Okay, weird. Creepy even. But I was safe now. Just drive. I put the car in drive, pressed the gas, and nothing happened. The engine revved, but the car barely budged. It jerked forward like something was stuck. Then I heard a scraping sound. Metal on metal. I was about to open the door to check when I saw him. The man, right at my window. I flinched so hard I almost screamed. He was standing there, staring down at me, rain pouring off his face. I hadn't even seen him walk up. He was just there. He raised a hand and knocked. 3 slow taps on the glass. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. His expression started to shift, his mouth tightening, his eyes narrowing. He leaned in closer. I could hear his breathing through the window, shaky, shallow. Then I heard a soft click. Like he was checking the door handle. That was it. That was the moment something primal kicked in. I slammed my foot on the gas again. The car lurched. The back tires made a horrible sound, but I didn't care. I kept pressing the pedal until something behind me snapped and the car shot forward. I heard a loud clatter, metal hitting pavement. And then the man slammed his hands against the side of the car, trying to grab on. But I was already flying down the road. I didn't stop until I was back in town, parked in the lot of a well-lit gas station, heart racing, hands shaking so bad I could barely hold my phone. I called the cops. When they went to check it out, the house was empty, totally vacant. No one named Marla had ever lived there. No one named Rick either. The place had been foreclosed and boarded up for almost 2 years. But someone had clearly been living inside it, squatting maybe, or worse. The cops found a rusted metal pipe lying in the street near where I'd parked. Looked like some kind of makeshift wheel lock wedged under my car to keep me from driving away. The officers were calm, but I could tell they were weirded out too. One of them, Officer Brenner, told me quietly, "This isn't the first call we've had about that place. They never found the man or the woman. No fingerprints. No clear prints in the mud. No security cam footage from any neighbors. Just me, some food, a photo of the porch, and a pipe. I haven't taken a delivery near Maple Hollow since. Actually, I quit the job a few weeks later. Every now and then I drive past that part of town during the day. That house is still there, still empty. But once, just once, I could have sworn I saw someone standing behind the upstairs window. The one that's supposed to be boarded up. Word to the wise. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And if a house looks like it's been abandoned for years but someone still orders tacos at 10:30 at night, maybe just let that one go. Hey, you ever hear about weird stuff happening to food delivery drivers? Like real creepy stuff? I drive for a service called DashCart. It's kinda like Postmates or DoorDash. I only do it a few nights a week, just to pick up some extra cash. My main job pays the bills, but DashCart money? That's for fun stuff. Movie nights, new sneakers, or saving up for a weekend trip. I've never taken it too seriously. Most nights are boring. You drive, pick up food, drop it off, repeat. But one night last fall, something happened that I still can't shake. It was around Halloween, actually, which makes the whole thing even weirder. It all started on a Thursday. I had just clocked out of my day job around 7:30 p.m. I remember because the sun had just dipped below the horizon, and the sky still had that deep orange glow. I grabbed a quick dinner, then turned on the DashCart app to see if there were any orders nearby. I live in Maple Hollow, a pretty quiet town in Oregon, so I wasn't expecting much. Surprisingly, orders were coming in fast. By 10 p.m., I had already made more than usual. I thought about calling it a night, but something told me to keep going. Just one more, I figured. One last delivery before heading home. Big mistake. The next order came in from a burger place called Hank's Grill. Simple meal, double cheeseburger, fries, soda. Nothing weird. The delivery tip was decent, so I accepted. I picked up the food, tapped start route, and waited for the GPS to load. That's when I noticed something strange. Instead of an address, the app showed just a location pin, dropped in the middle of nowhere behind a strip mall on the edge of town. No house, no building name, just coordinates. I paused for a second, debating if I should cancel it. But curiosity got the better of me. I figured maybe it was a night shift worker at one of the late stores or someone who forgot to type in the address. The drive took about 15 minutes. The streets got darker the farther I went. Street lights were spaced out, flickering like they hadn't been serviced in years. When I pulled into the parking lot near the drop pin, I instantly got a bad feeling. You know that chill you get down your back when something's off? Yeah, that most of the businesses were closed. Dark windows, metal shutters. The only lights came from an old convenience store still open on the far end. I parked near where the GPS pin hovered and got out, food in hand. I looked around. No one. So I sent a quick message through the app. Hey, I'm here at the drop-off. Can you confirm the spot? A reply came back instantly. Around the back. You'll see me, that was it. No name, no extra info. Just that I hesitated. The back of the building was pitch black. I couldn't even see where the pavement ended. I turned my headlights on and drove slowly around the side. And that's when it got weird. As I rounded the corner, my headlights lit up the back lot. There were a few cars parked way in the back. Beat-up sedans with fogged-over windows. Not a soul in sight, no lights, no movement. I rolled down the window and shouted, "Hello?" Silence, then my phone buzzed. A call this time, I answered it on speaker. "Hey," a man's voice said, low, scratchy. "We're almost there. Just wait a minute." "We see you, we?" My stomach twisted. I couldn't explain it, but I just felt wrong, like someone was watching me from the shadows. I turned off the call and started putting the car in reverse. Something in me was screaming to leave. Right then, someone darted in front of my car. I slammed on the brakes. My heart almost jumped out of my chest. A guy, mid-30s, tall, hoodie pulled low over his face, stood there, waving his arms like he wanted me to stop. He slowly walked up to my driver's side window. I cracked it just a bit. "You got my order?" he asked, smiling just enough to show yellowed teeth. Yeah, I said, holding up the bag. "Here," but he didn't take it, he just stood there, staring. Not blinking. Like he was waiting for something. And then, from the corner of my eye, I saw movement. The back passenger door creaked open. I panicked. I dropped the bag out the window, hit the gas, and tore out of the lot. My tires screeched against the pavement. I didn't even check to see who had gotten in. All I knew was someone was in my back seat. I felt the car shift slightly as they moved. Then I heard fumbling, hands reaching between the seats, fingers grabbing at the gear stick. I fought to keep the car going straight. They were trying to slam it into park. I shouted, "Get out! Get out!" But they said nothing. Suddenly, the back door flew open. The person rolled out of the moving car and hit the ground hard. I looked in the rearview mirror just in time to see them scramble up and run back toward the shadows. I didn't stop until I was halfway home. When I got there, I locked every door and turned off all the lights. I didn't sleep a second that night. My heart was still racing at 3 a.m. I kept replaying it over and over. What would have happened if I hadn't driven off? The next morning, I went to the police station and filed a report. They said they'd look into it, but you know how that goes. No updates, no calls. I don't even think they wrote anything down. Out of curiosity, and yeah, maybe paranoia, I started doing some digging. I posted anonymously on a few delivery driver forums, asked if anyone else had experienced weird drop-offs in Maple Hollow. That's when someone messaged me. They said their cousin Jamie used to deliver for a different app. 2 weeks before my incident, Jamie disappeared during a late-night delivery. Her car was found abandoned outside of a shuttered bowling alley. The food was still in the passenger seat. Her phone was missing. She hasn't been seen since. My hands went cold reading that, and guess what? That bowling alley, it's 2 blocks from where I had my delivery. I don't think what happened to me was random. I think it was planned. Those guys, they were setting a trap. And if I hadn't driven off when I did, maybe I wouldn't be here telling the story. I haven't done a single delivery since. Every time I drive by a strip mall or a dimly lit back lot, I get that same chill down my spine. The kind that makes you lock your doors and keep moving. So if you ever do delivery driving, day or night, always trust your gut. If a location feels wrong, don't ignore it. No tip is worth your life, and if someone ever tells you, "I'm just around the back," you get out of there fast.